Hello, welcome to our channel. Today we will talk about Jack the Ripper, a serial killer. We will review the new evidence and explore the psychology of the killer. Jack the Ripper, an unknown serial killer, operated in the poverty-stricken area of Whitechapel in London, England during the year 1888. The criminal case files and contemporary reports from journalists referred to this mysterious killer as the Whitechapel murderer. His targets were often impoverished women who worked as prostitutes in the East End. The killer's modus operandi involved slashing their throats and mutilating their bodies, with the removal of internal organs being a distinct characteristic in some cases. The gruesome nature of these attacks led to widespread fear and fascination with the unsolved mystery of Jack the Ripper's identity. There was speculation that the Jack the Ripper had a certain level of anatomical or surgical knowledge due to the nature of the murders. The rumors connecting the killings grew stronger in September and October of 1888. During this time, media outlets in Scotland Yard received numerous letters from individuals claiming to be the notorious murderer. The moniker, Jack the Ripper, was first associated with the unidentified killer in the infamous Dear Boss letter. This letter, claiming to be from the murderer himself, was sent to the press for public attention. However, it is widely believed that the letter was a hoax, possibly created by journalists to generate more intrigue around the story. Despite the origin of the name being potentially fabricated, it became synonymous with the unsolved case, forever etched in the history of crime. According to recently published genetic tests, forensic scientists claim to have identified the identity of Jack the Ripper. The tests indicate that Aaron Kosminski, a 23-year-old Polish barber at the time, is a strong suspect in the case. The evidence points towards Kosminski as a prime suspect in the series of gruesome crimes committed by Jack the Ripper. The individual responsible for terrorizing the city streets has finally been fingered, shedding light on the true identity of this notorious serial killer. Recent genetic tests published this week have indicated that Aaron Kosminski, a 23-year-old Polish barber who was considered a prime suspect by the police during that time, may be linked to the Jack the Ripper case. However, critics argue that the evidence presented may not be sufficient to definitively close the case and declare Kosminski as the true culprit. There are ongoing debates and discussions surrounding the validity and strength of the evidence, leaving the case open to further examination and analysis. The findings are the outcome of a forensic analysis conducted on a stained silk shawl, which investigators claim to have discovered next to the body of Catherine Eddowes, the fourth victim of the Jack the Ripper. This examination played a crucial role in determining potential links and providing insights into the case. The shawl in question is marked with what is purported to be blood and semen stains, with the latter believed to originate from the actual killer. Alongside the murder of Catherine Eddowes, 4 other women in London were also victims of this unidentified assailant during a 3-month killing spree. Despite extensive investigations, the true identity of the perpetrator has never been definitively confirmed, leaving the case unresolved and shrouded in mystery. Although previous suspicions have connected Aaron Kosminski to the Jack the Ripper murders, this marks the first occasion where the supporting DNA evidence has been made public through publication in a peer-reviewed journal. The significance lies in the validation of the genetic findings by the scientific community, lending a newfound credibility to the link between Kosminski and these notorious crimes. The initial genetic tests on the shawl samples were conducted several years ago by Jari Louhelainen, a biochemist from Liverpool John Moores University. However, he chose to withhold the results at that time in order to allow the controversy surrounding the case to settle down before submitting his findings. This decision to delay the release of the results indicates the sensitivity and attention that the Jack the Ripper case still evokes even after such a significant passage of time. In 2014, author Russell Edwards, who had acquired the shawl in 2007 and subsequently provided it to Jari Louhelainen for analysis, utilized the unpublished results of the genetic tests to name Aaron Kosminski as the perpetrator in his book titled, Naming Jack the Ripper. Edwards relied on the information from the tests to put forth his conclusion regarding Kosminski's involvement in the murders. However, geneticists raised concerns at that time regarding the validity of the claims made in the book. They argued that without sufficient technical details about the analysis conducted on the genetic samples from the shawl, it was impossible to assess the sequences of the living relatives of Eddowes and Kosminski due to the Data Protection Act, a UK law aimed at safeguarding individuals' privacy. Instead, they chose to present the information through a visual graphic in the paper, which they argue is more accessible for non-scientists, particularly those interested in true crime. However, Walther Parson, a forensic scientist at the Institute of Legal Medicine in Austria, disagrees with this approach. He asserts that mitochondrial DNA sequences do not pose a privacy risk and suggests that the authors should have included them in the paper. Parson questions the trend of avoiding the presentation of results in favor of colored boxes, as it hinders readers' ability to make informed judgments. Hansi Weissensteiner, another mitochondrial DNA expert, shares Parson's concerns. He highlights that mitochondrial DNA analysis can only conclusively demonstrate the absence of a relationship between individuals or DNA samples, rather than definitively proving a suspect's guilt. In this case, the mitochondrial DNA found on the shawl could potentially belong to Kosminski or numerous other individuals residing in London at the time. Furthermore, critics of the Kosminski theory argue that there is no evidence to confirm that the shawl was present at the crime scene. They also raise the possibility of contamination over the years, which could affect the reliability of the results. It is important to note that previous attempts to identify Jack the Ripper through DNA analysis have yielded different suspects. For instance, Patricia Cornwell, a U.S. crime author, proposed that the painter Walter Sickert was the killer based on DNA analysis of letters allegedly sent by Jack the Ripper to the police. However, experts have expressed skepticism about the authenticity of those letters. Another genetic analysis of the letters even suggested the possibility that the killer could have been a woman. The psychology of Jack the Ripper remains a subject of speculation and debate. Due to the lack of definitive information about the killer's identity, it is challenging to provide a comprehensive understanding of their psychological profile. However, based on the patterns and nature of the crimes, as well as the limited evidence available, some theories and hypotheses have emerged. 1. Psychopathy. Many experts believe that Jack the Ripper displayed psychopathic traits. Psychopathy is characterized by a lack of empathy, shallow emotions. Many experts believe that Jack the Ripper displayed psychopathic traits. Psychopathy is characterized by a lack of empathy, shallow emotions, impulsivity, and a propensity for violence. The brutal and sadistic nature of the murders, coupled with the calculated manner in which the killer eluded capture, suggests a psychopathic mindset. 2. Sexual deviance. Sexual motivations are often associated with serial killers, and some theories suggest that Jack the Ripper's crimes had a sexual component. The mutilation and targeting of female prostitutes have led to speculations about the killer's possible sexual dysfunction, paraphilias, or deep-rooted anger towards women. 3. Power and control. Serial killers often seek power and control over their victims, and Jack the Ripper may have derived a sense of dominance and control through the violent acts committed. The ability to exert power over vulnerable individuals, coupled with the mutilation and dehumanization of the victims' bodies, suggests a need for control and a desire to assert authority. 4. Mental health issues. While there is no concrete evidence to support any specific mental illness or disorder, some theories propose that the Ripper may have suffered from a mental health condition. Speculations have ranged from psychotic disorders to personality disorders, but without definitive information, it is challenging to provide an accurate assessment. 5. Environmental factors. The socioeconomic conditions and environment in which the crimes occurred have also been considered in attempts to understand the psychology of Jack the Ripper. The impoverished and marginalized areas of Whitechapel, London during that era may have played a role in the killer's choice of victims and modus operandi. It is crucial to note the hypotheses are based on patterns observed in the crimes and general understanding of serial killers, but they should be considered speculative rather than definitive explanations. If you liked this video, please hit subscribe for more.